How's it going, everybody? This is Joey of Underage Packers. Today I wanted to take a look at the Packers' three biggest positional needs heading into the 2021 offseason. Now, this isn't exactly the three positions I think they should target in the draft because, believe it or not, those are two different things. But here are the three positions over the offseason I think the Packers should look to supplement. Let's start off with number one, cornerback. There's a few reasons for this. First of all, Kevin Keene is on a contract year, and Kevin Keene is terrible, so he's going to be walking either way. I shouldn't say terrible. I think he doesn't get enough credit by fans, but that's whatever. On the other side of Jair Alexander, it would be a dream to have another elite cornerback, pair him up in an elite secondary with Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage, and Jair Alexander. Be fantastic. I guess if I had to pick a favorable option, sign a veteran in free agency and then draft a rookie pretty high in the draft, just because rookie cornerbacks usually take a year or two, even longer than normal rookies do, to develop and truly form into a starter. Jair came on pretty quickly, but usually rookies don't come on that quick. But it'd be great to sign a veteran and then draft another cornerback to have someone developing while also having stability at that cornerback number two. Next up, we have wide receiver. Now, this is not very as big as a deal as people wanted it to be last year, and it still isn't too necessarily big of a deal as it is now. I think Allen Lazard and Marquez Valdes-Scantling offer very solid depth at wide receiver 2 and 3, but at the same time, Equanimeous and St. Brown, Malik Taylor, getting this amount of snaps they did, that says a little too much about your wide receiver depth. I would love to get someone in the early rounds this year, or even on a day 2 pick. Another reason for this is next year, Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Davante Adams are set to become unrestricted free agents. I would see us re-signing Davante, obviously. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, though, if he has a season which shows a lot of improvement from 2020, which was already a pretty good season, he might outprice himself of Green Bay, and Green Bay might not be willing to pay that. So, Brian Gutekunst, stay true to your philosophy. You'll draft a wide receiver, have him sit, and if Marquez Valdes-Scantling has to be walk, then you have a guy in the wings in year 2 already. One last thing to consider with this, though, is that they do have Devin Funchess. If they want to bring him back, he is set to be with the Packers since he opted out. So if he comes back, they like what he shows in camp, they could still also draft one. But that solves quite a few of the problems with Devin Funchess back. But it will certainly be interesting to see how the Packers go about the wide receiver position in this year's offseason. And finally, center. Now, I don't know if you can really say the Packers have a starting center on their lineup for 2021. And I mean, if I could see any of the pending unrestricted free agents for the Packers being re-signed, it'd probably be Corey Linsley, or maybe that's just my favorite. But other than that, if you don't re-sign Corey Linsley, you're going to have to move at least one piece around at the start of the year at the very least. You got David Bakhtiari, and then you got a lot of versatile pieces. You could move Elton to center, but then you have to consider, are we moving Lucas to the left side? Who are we putting at right guard? Are we having Rick Wagner permanently be a starter at right tackle? So center / any offensive lineman piece to supplement, add some depth, so when you're moving these pieces around for injury or, like we mentioned, losing a player in free agency, then you still have that depth and you still have a stable offensive line group. They did draft 3 interior offensive linemen last year with John Runyon, Simon Stepniak, and Jake Hansen. We'll see what they saw from them this year in camp. I like what John Runyon showed when he had to step in, so maybe they put him in at guard and Lucas Patrick at center. Either way, they'll have to move some pieces around or add some depth to that group. Like I mentioned, this isn't exactly the draft top needs, because I think that looks quite a bit different, and we'll talk about that when we get closer to the draft. I mean, if 2020 taught us anything, that would tell you that don't look at the team needs if you want to predict who the Packers are going to take in the draft. I think you will see a running back go in the draft to the Packers, but I wouldn't say that's one of their biggest needs, because they still could get Jamal Williams back. They have a second rounder in the wings, and who knows, they could maybe sign a veteran to come in here, be a more faster guy, more receiving threat like Aaron Jones was, but who knows? It will be an interesting offseason. It will be a long offseason of headlines, but that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and as always, go Pack Go.